Ever wondered what would happen if your high school ex came back into your life and turned you into a secret agent? Welcome to Movies Unboxed, where we unwrap the most thrilling movies with a twist of humor. Today, we're diving into The Union, where an ordinary guy's life flips upside down thanks to some serious spy drama. Let's jump right in. Our story kicks off in a swanky Italian hotel, where secret agents are running around like it's the latest spy convention. Meet Roxanne. She's hanging back, watching everything like a hawk, while Tom, the head honcho in London, is glued to the surveillance screens. The mission? Capture a rogue CIA agent with a briefcase so important, it probably comes with a do not lose tag. Everything's going smoothly, until their getaway car pulls a dramatic mission, impossible stunt, and explodes. With no ride, they're forced to retreat back into the hotel, and this is where things get messy. Roxanne tries to reach the team, but it's like a game of spy versus spy, where her teammates are losing. One by one, they're picked off, leaving only Agent Nick standing. He almost makes it to safety, but nope. The mission ends in disaster, and the suitcase? Gone just like that. Cut to the other side of the world, where we meet Mike, a regular dude living with his mom, working construction, and living a routine life. That is until Roxanne, his high school sweetheart turned super spy, drops back into his life. Turns out, she didn't just vanish. She joined the Union, an elite team of undercover agents. Talk about an unexpected reunion. Mike's head is spinning. His ex, who he never really got over, is back, and she's as stunning as ever. They catch up, share some laughs, and even revisit their old hangout spot. But hold on, this isn't a rom-com moment. Roxanne's got a trick up her sleeve. Just as Mike thinks they're rekindling old flames, she knocks him out and drags him all the way to London. Romantic, right? When Mike comes to, he's beyond confused. One minute he's at the bar, the next he's in London, with Roxanne explaining that she drugged him to get him there. Classic ex-girlfriend move. Mike's ready to bounce back to his normal life, but then Tom steps in with a wild proposition. He tells Mike that Roxanne recommended him for the team because he's so ordinary, perfect for blending in. His mission? Pose as a buyer to recover the stolen device that's got intel on every top agent from the FBI to the CIA. Tom gives Mike a choice. Go back to his regular, boring life, or dive headfirst into the world of espionage. Roxanne tries to sweeten the deal with a first-class ticket home, but Mike's still salty about the whole drugging and kidnapping thing. After some serious thinking, and probably a few more drinks, Mike decides to stay. Cue the training montage. Mike's learning everything from shooting to hand-to-hand combat, all while trying to look as cool as possible. 2 weeks later, the mission's on. Mike's job is to pick up an encrypted device to get into the auction, while Roxanne and the rest of the agents cover him. Mike gets the device, but just as he's about to make a clean getaway, another team swoops in to steal it. Mike goes on the run, with Roxanne taking down bad guys left and right. But things take a turn for the worse when Mike accidentally drops the device into a fountain. It's game over for the mission, and the device? Completely waterlogged. Roxanne saves the day by taking down the last attacker, but the mission's already a bust. Now, the team needs to swipe one of the remaining devices to stay in the game. Mike's officially off the hook, but he's not ready to quit just yet. Determined to make things right and impress Roxanne, he decides to stick around. Despite Tom's doubts, Roxanne gives Mike another shot, and the chaotic adventure continues. So, the mission's going pretty well, and our crew manages to sneak their way to a computer with one of those oh-so-important encrypted devices. Mike, our tech whiz, is basically the MVP here, helping the team get exactly what they need. But, just when things seem to be going smoothly, one of Roxanne's team members is found dead. Apparently, someone else noticed their little secret mission, and now the building where Tom's been keeping his squad suddenly gets a surprise renovation. Boom. Thankfully, Tom only ends up with a few scratches. He decides it's time to play hide-and-seek and tells everyone to scatter like cockroaches when the lights come on. Roxanne and Mike head off to a so-called safe house, which might as well be a dorm room with only one bed. Naturally, they both declare, "Nothing's happening here tonight," as if they're trying to convince themselves more than each other. Next morning, they wake up to the news reporting the explosion as just an electrical failure. Yeah, right. Our dynamic duo is far from pleased and instantly suspects someone's trying to knock them off. Tom gets in touch and casually mentions there's only 18 hours left before the big auction. So, no pressure, but they need to get there, but's in gear. At their new HQ, Tom, the mastermind, hatches a plan to track the auctioneer's location when the bidding starts. The idea is to keep the bidding going as long as possible while Roxanne and Mike hunt down the seller like it's a high-stakes scavenger hunt. To their surprise, the CIA crashes the party, offering to foot the bill for this shady auction. Their guy tells them to get that info, or else the syndicate goes down the drain. No pressure, again. As soon as the auction begins, Roxanne floors it, racing to find the auctioneer, while Tom bids like he's using someone else's credit card. They finally track the signal to a building, and guess who they run into? Juliet, the auctioneer herself. Roxanne doesn't waste any time and demands the super-secret info they've been chasing. Juliet, cool as a cucumber, tells them it's at her place. So, off they go, probably hoping she has snacks. Once they get to Juliet's house, she pulls out a suitcase from a hidden spot. Just when Roxanne thinks she's scored, the front door swings open. And guess who struts in? Nick, the guy who's supposed to be dead. Talk about awkward reunions. And, to add a cherry on top, Mike finds out Nick is Roxanne's husband. Surprise! Mike is not thrilled about this little detail, which Roxanne conveniently forgot to mention. But there's no time for jealousy because Nick drops a bombshell. There's a snitch in the union, and it's none other than Tom. Apparently, Tom's been double-dealing, and Nick warns Roxanne not to trust him with the info. Instead, he suggests they meet at dawn to hand it over to the CIA. Roxanne reluctantly agrees, but as soon as Nick leaves, Mike turns into a sulking teenager, whining about not knowing she was married. During their bickering, we learn that neither of their parents approved of the match, making this whole situation even more of a soap opera. And that's where we leave them, caught between a high-stakes mission and their own messy personal drama. Mike and Roxanne's adventure takes a wild turn when a heated argument gets out of control, and Mike storms off like a dramatic diva. The next day, Roxanne, ever the optimist, waits at the bridge where Nick had summoned her. But surprise, surprise, Mike shows up, still not over his mission. Just as things start to get interesting, Nick calls to drop a bombshell. He's not coming because, guess what? He set her up. And to top it off, he reveals that Juliet was the one who swapped the device last night. Oh, and by the way, Nick's the evil genius behind all their problems. Just as you think it can't get any worse, the CIA crashes the party to arrest our heroes. But Roxanne, being the crafty fox she is, teams up with Mike to fake a boat jump, leaving the CIA scratching their heads. Once they're safe, Roxanne casually mentions she planted a tracker on Nick the previous night. Because why not? They now know exactly where he's heading with the stolen device. In no time, Roxanne and Mike sneak onto a plane to track him, leaving poor Tom locked up and helpless. As they spy on Nick, they see him cozying up to Juliet on a boat, ready to sell top-secret info. Roxanne and Mike race to crash the deal. Roxanne interrupts just as Nick's about to close the sale, and Mike swoops in to snatch the device. Juliet, realizing this is not her kind of mess, bails, leaving Nick to face Roxanne's wrath. But Nick's got a few tricks up his sleeve. He escapes, and Roxanne has no choice but to chase after Mike, who's now in possession of the precious briefcase. Just when it seems like things are finally over, Nick reappears to rob her. A wild chase ensues, and it's Nick who ends up with the device. Again, Roxanne steals a car in hot pursuit, while poor Mike is stuffed in the trunk of a car driven by the very guy who wanted to buy the information. The chase gets crazier as Mike finally escapes the trunk to help Roxanne go after Nick. When they're stranded for a moment, Mike somehow manages to be right behind Nick again. In a final showdown, Nick literally falls apart in front of Roxanne's eyes. Just as she's about to have a meltdown, Mike pops out from the bushes, having made a miraculous jump to safety. Nick makes it to a port, thinking he's finally getting away, but Roxanne crashes right into his plans, cornering him. Nick, ever the sleazy businessman, tries to convince her to split the profits. Roxanne, not in the mood for any of his nonsense, sends him to meet his maker and recovers the precious information. Finally, after all the chaos, Mike makes it to his friend's wedding. Roxanne crashes the party too, and the two lovebirds decide to give their romance another go. But just as they sneak away for some alone time, Tom shows up, already out of jail, and drops the bomb that there's another mission waiting. He welcomes Mike to the syndicate, and just like that, the unlikely duo is ready for their next adventure. And that's how this crazy story wraps up, and that's the wild, action-packed roller coaster of a ride. Just when you thought it was over, the twists kept coming. If you enjoyed the chaos, the laughs, and the thrills, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Movies Unboxed for more crazy recaps, just like this one. Don't forget to ring the bell icon so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep your popcorn ready. There's always another adventure around the corner.